Dialogue 1. Our first date.
Hey, do you remember our first date?
Of course, I do. It was magical.
I remember how nervous I was.
You were so cute and charming.
I wanted everything to be perfect.
And it was. You took me to that fancy restaurant.
Yeah, I wanted to impress you.
You did. The food was delicious.
I remember we talked for hours.
Yeah, we had so much in common.
I was afraid you wouldn't like me.
I liked you from the start.
Do you remember the movie we watched?
Absolutely, it was that romantic comedy.
I remember we laughed so much.
It was a great choice.
Do you remember the goodnight kiss?
Of course, I do. It was sweet.
I was so nervous, but I wanted to kiss you.
I'm glad you did. It was perfect.
I remember walking you to your door.
Yeah, you were a true gentleman.
I didn't want the night to end.
Neither did I. It was unforgettable.
Do you remember what you wore?
Yes, I wore that blue dress.
You look stunning, as always.
Thank you. You looked handsome too.
Do you miss those times sometimes?
Absolutely, I do. They were special.
Me too. I'm glad we're still together.
Me too. I love you.
Dialogue 2. Our high school prom.
Hey, do you remember our high school prom?
Of course, I do. It was amazing.
I still have the pictures, you know.
Really? I lost mine, unfortunately.
I can send them to you.
That would be great, thank you.
Do you remember the music they played?
Yeah, it was a mix of old and new songs.
I remember dancing with you all night.
You were a great dancer, I must say.
Thanks, but you were better than me.
No way, you were the star of the night.
Do you remember the food they served?
Yeah, it was a buffet with lots of options.
I remember the chocolate fountain, it was delicious.
Oh, I missed that. I was too busy dancing.
Do you remember who won the prom king and queen?
Yeah, it was John and Sarah, right?
Yes, they looked so happy together.
They were the perfect couple, indeed.
Do you remember the decorations?
Yeah, they were so beautiful and elegant.
I remember the balloons and the lights.
It was like a fairy tale, wasn't it?
Do you remember the after party?
Yeah, we went to the beach and watched the sunrise.
It was a perfect ending to a perfect night.
I couldn't agree more. It was unforgettable.
Do you miss those times sometimes?
Yeah, I do. They were the best times of my life.
Me too. We should organize a reunion soon.
That's a great idea. Let's do it.
Dialogue 3. Our road trip.
Hey, do you remember our road trip?
Of course, it was so fun.
We drove for hours, remember?
Yeah. We saw so much scenery.
And we stopped for snacks.
I loved those roadside diners.
Do you remember the music?
Of course, we sang along to everything.
And we played road trip games.
I remember playing the alphabet game.
And we took so many photos.
I still have them on my phone.
Do you remember the hotel?
Absolutely, it was so cozy.
And we went swimming, right?
Yes, the pool was so refreshing.
Do you remember the beach?
Sure, we watched the sunset.
And we had a bonfire.
That was my favorite part.
Do you remember the food?
Yes, we had the best seafood.
And we tried new things.
I remember trying lobster for the first time.
Do you remember the drive back?
Absolutely, it was bittersweet.
I wish we could do it again.
Me too, it was such a great trip. Dialogue 4. Our first concert.
Hey, do you remember our first concert?
Yeah, it was so exciting.
We waited in line for hours.
But it was worth it, right?
Definitely. The music was amazing.
And the crowd was so hyped.
Do you remember the opening act?
Yeah, they were pretty good.
But the main act was better.
I loved when they played my favorite song.
Do you remember the venue?
It was a huge stadium, right?
Yeah, with thousands of people.
And we had great seats too.
Do you remember the merch?
I bought a t-shirt and poster.
I got a keychain and hat.
We were such big fans back then.
Do you remember the atmosphere?
It was electric, everyone was singing along.
And we made friends with other fans.
I remember trading pins with someone.
Do you remember the encore?
Yes, they played 3 more songs.
And we didn't want it to end.
I wish we could go back in time.
Me too, it was such a great experience.
Dialogue 5. Our first job.
Hey, do you remember our first job?
Of course, it was unforgettable.
We worked at the amusement park.
Yeah, I remember the roller coaster.
I was so scared to ride it.
But you did it anyway.
And I screamed the whole time.
It was hilarious, we laughed hard.
I also remember the cotton candy.
It was so sweet and delicious.
And the arcade games we played.
I won that basketball shooting game.
I remember the hot summer days.
We were sweating like crazy.
But we had so much fun.
It was a great first job.
Do you remember our boss?
Yeah, he was always grumpy.
But he taught us a lot.
Especially about customer service.
And how to work as a team.
We were a great team.
I remember the long hours.
But the paycheck was worth it.
It was a great experience.
I'm glad we did it together.
Me too, it was unforgettable.